evening, everybody. This is Joseph Sweat with Nikita Vanner, and I want to welcome everybody to the Walnut Hill PK8 campus community meeting, community presentation. I'm going to go ahead and introduce a couple of the panelists we have online right now. From the district's executive group, we have Trustee Flores, and we have Mr. Scott Lane with us. We also have Ryan Zisk. And from campus leadership, we have Mr. Philip Potter, current principal for Walnut Hill. On the architectural side, we have Ola Roos from VAI, and we have Sanjita Karthik from Corrigan. And we'll go ahead and I'll turn this over to Ola, unless Mr. Potter, unless you'd like to say some opening words. If not, we can wait till the end.
Absolutely. I would just like to welcome our community out tonight and thank everyone for being here. Thank you for CORE, VAI, Corrigan, our community partners and parents. We welcome you to this meeting.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Potter. With that, I'll turn it over to Ola Roos from VAI.
Well, thank you for that. And again, welcome. We appreciate everyone taking the time to join us for this meeting. As you know, the old Cary Middle School was heavily damaged and will be demolished. And today we intend to show the project development at the stage it is right now for the new Walnut Hill PK8. And as you know, we've had several meetings, and we intend to show we've listened to people, and we've taken input back to the design. So the presentation will be about 15-20 minutes, and at the end there will be an opportunity for feedback. So we're going to go through today. We're going to talk about the schedule, the site plan development and where we are on that based on input, traffic, how we're going to manage traffic. We're going to touch on the construction phase, how that's going to be managed. And we're also going to go in some detail to the school plans and organization of spaces. So the school, the new Walnut Hill PK8 is programmed to support 800 students. It's about little over 120,000 square feet. We're going to go in more in detail on the site, academics, and athletics in the following slides. So we can move to the next slide. So the schedule, it's right after the tornado. There was some immediate work to assess the damage and work through some pre-design to look ahead of how that was going to be handled. What could be salvaged, what was gone, what was the future plans for the campus. So during December and January, there were plans developed for some options. In January of this year, at the board meeting on the 23rd, the board decided to go ahead with a project to rebuild the pre-K8 or replace Cary with a pre-K8 school and renovate and add on to Thomas Jefferson. And since February, we've been in a design process parallel with community meetings. And some of you may have been at some of the earlier community meetings that occurred in February and March. And now we're showing where that input has come. At the same time, the contractor is mobilizing on the site, and there's activity out there. We got fencing up, trailer, and site demolition will start here in the next week or so. In September, we'll start seeing construction on the site. for the grading and site work, paving, parking. In January, we'll start seeing the vertical construction of the new facilities. And of course, the most important date on the schedule is opening the school in August of 2022. So at this point, we're on track. Can move to the next one. So this is our current site plan layout. Yesterday, some of you may have been on the call with community meeting for Thomas Jefferson. I'm not going to go into detail on that, but you can see there's some additions going on around that school. The new Walnut Hill PK8 is placed in approximately the same location, somewhat different direction, but we've looked at how to manage both the separation between the schools and the joint activities that may take place with the fields. So in this scheme, we're looking at relocating the ball fields, adding a new practice field to the east of Walnut Hill, a new soccer field south of Walnut Hill, and some areas around the school immediately for activity. The traffic and the paving I will talk to on the next couple of slides. So we can move on. So the parent drop off for Walnut Hill will come in off Hedgeway Drive and line up on the north end of the school and exit out through the internal roads onto Walnut Hill. And I should mention that the traffic light at Walnut Hill that's centered on the site is being replaced. It's currently a 1940s legacy traffic light. It will receive a smart light that can be programmed and scheduled to address traffic flows at in the morning and at pickup times, so that we can adjust it to improve exits out of the site and minimize impact on the neighborhood roads. Buses, which is the purple arrows, will come in from Gooding and drop off on the south side of PK8. The intent here is that we allow the site to hold stacking both for the buses and for the parent traffic, and that we have a natural flow and keep traffic off Killian and minimize traffic on Gooding and Hedgeway Drive north of the church. So we can move on to the next slide. This one is showing how the contractor intend to utilize the site during construction. So we have what's called laydown yards. That's where they stack construction material. So there's one adjacent to Walnut Hill on the west side. We have a north laydown yard above TJ, and utilizing the area west of TJ as well. That's where the main trailer is going to be. So that softball field would be installed towards the end. Most construction traffic will come in from Walnut Hill. There will be some traffic at the early stages before we get all the paving onto the site that will have to come in from Hedgeway, especially for Walnut Hill, and from Gooding for TJ for the demolition work, and also to prep for the site work. We can move on from there, and I think I'm handing it over to Sangeeta at this point.
Thank you, Ola. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sangeeta Karthik, and I'm with Corgan, and we're very excited to present to you the new Pre-8 design. We wanted to let you know that several of you have participated in the community meeting and the workshops. The design that you see over here is a fruition of a lot of effort from a lot of people, from the DISD leadership, several stakeholders, teachers, as well as parents and community members. So these interactive workshops helped us understand what the needs were and what your vision was for this building. So when we started off with the concept of the school, kind of looked at it as the layout had a elementary school portion as well as the middle school portion with all of the common areas centrally located. This was the site plan we had started with, and we heard loud and clear what the issues that needed to be addressed around the building had to be. So what you see over here is really a refinement of the previous version. Like Ola mentioned, we've accommodated for parents to drop off the students on the north side of the building, but they'll actually enter on Hedgeway, and then they can drop off the students at the front of the building and then move through the side. Now the kids that take the bus would be dropped off on the south side. So as we started developing the design, we wanted to make sure that the students were connected to learning and the building was connected to the community. So we provided a parent plaza in the front for the parents and students to congregate in at the start of the day or at the end of the day, because we know that the school is an extension of the community. And on the south side, we envisioned a courtyard, which would be an outdoor classroom. As we talked through with the Dallas ISD leadership, several folks from the curriculum team, as well as Principal Potter, we started developing the design to make sure we had thoughtful, meaningful spaces in this courtyard. So what you see over here are a series of zones that include an art zone for the kids to spill out of the classroom, art classroom and paint or do their art piece outside, an outdoor classroom, which is again tied back to curriculum, raised planter beds for kids to be able to eat outside or have a class outside on a nice day. Again, when we met with the community, we wanted to make sure we understand what some of the thoughts were, as well as some of the suggestions were. So we heard everyone loud and clear. As you can tell, this is a really tight site. So we wanted to maximize all of the green space around the building. And so we did that by providing the courtyard that would be an extension of the school, as well as some play fields for the students so they can run around. The entrance off Hedgeway allowed parents to stack on the property. Again, there was a lot of interest that was expressed for the connection between the cafeteria and the gym. And we also heard that the outdoor views and the connections to the outside was important. So we made sure that all of the learning spaces had windows so the students can see out. So as we develop the design, what you have today is a schematic floor plan. And so I'm going to orient everyone. The entrance to the building is on the north side. So this is Killian over here. What you see in pink is going to be the administration area. Very similar to our concept, we have the elementary school area and the middle school zone, if you will, with a lot of the common functions like the library, the cafeteria, and the big gym kind of in the center. We envision the library to be the heart of the school. You've got the pre-K, the kindergarten, and the first grade classrooms on the west side. All of their spaces, including their art and science spaces, are located close by. There is also a small gym for the little kids. As you move through, we've located the special ed areas central to the building, close to the administration and the nurse, but at the same time, very central to the entire campus. Over here, you've got the sixth graders with their science lab. You've got your performing arts spaces over here, the cafeteria, kitchen, the big gym that's meant for the middle school and the locker areas. So that would round out your first floor. On the second floor, the elementary school side is largely the same. We've got the older kids from the elementary school side on the second level. There are also collaboration spaces that will be grouped for the kids close to their classrooms so they can spill out. We've got a STEM area that overlooks into the library. And on the middle school side, we've got the 7th, 8th graders with their own collaboration space, along with the science labs, the CTE room, and the computer room. So that is the floor plan for the second level. So when we started designing the building, we wanted to make sure that we were informed by research too. So we wanted to make sure that there were developmentally appropriate interactions where students can learn from each other. So there was an alignment of classroom features with the development of the child. Universal design was another important piece that we baked into the design. And also we wanted to make sure that there were outdoor areas where they can actually go and decompress after a stressful day. The inclusive STEM education kind of guided us to place the STEM areas very close to the classroom so it becomes a part of the everyday learning. And then the multidisciplinary approach helped us put all of the students close to the STEM as well as the computer and CTE spaces. So that was the floor plan. So what did we do for the exterior of the building? Again, we wanted to make sure that there was a common visual language. So we showed a series of pictures, and the few that you're going to see are the ones most people gravitated towards. We understood we wanted this design to be timeless, warm. Even if people could not express what style they liked, we had a value voting where people put dots and told us the pictures that they thought would be an appropriate design language for the exterior. We did the same for the interior. And some of the things we learned was just light, airy spaces that were full of natural light. Again, having thoughtful, meaningful spaces for the kids to learn together in smaller groups or work on their own projects. As Ola mentioned, this is a huge site, and you've got TJ on one end of the property and the new Pre-8 on the other side. We wanted to make sure that the visual language was the same between the two buildings. So this is actually the proposed design for the Jefferson High School. This is their main entry of Walnut Hill. This is their gym and cafeteria entry on the north side. And very similar to the Pre-8 design, it does have a community plaza, just scaled a little bit larger, which will serve as a pre-function. So this is going to be your new entrance for the Walnut Hill Pre-8. This faces Killian. And again, what you see is a parent or a community plaza for parents and students to gather at the start or the end of the day, a clearly marked entry for visitors to be able to check in. Again, you see the same materiality, the color of the brick, the wood-like tones all match, so the language is the same, and the entire site feels like one campus. What you see over here is what we've envisioned on the south side. So the kids get dropped off by the bus, and they're walking through the outdoor courtyard, which is also the learning space. You see some raised planter beds on one side, some other kids working on their art project outside the art space, along with a few other kids relaxing or eating a snack. So this is what we visualized on the south end, which is going to be your outdoor classroom. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Joe. Joe?
Thank you very much, Sangeeta and Ola, for that. I want to remind everybody that they can go online to www.dallasisd.org/bond2015 questions. That will open up a Google Notes page where you can type in your questions and I'll be able to see them here, and we'll have the appropriate panel member address those questions now. There's also, if you're joining us on Facebook, you can leave comments, ask your questions in the comments section. I'll also be able to see those here. So with that, we'll open it up to the community for any feedback, any questions or comments they might have. Okay. Another website, while we're waiting for some of the questions, is if anybody wants to look at this presentation again or just review the notes, things like that, the website is dallasisd.org/bond 2015 meetings. On that page, you'll have the link to all of the current meetings that have been held for multiple campuses, including you'll have Walnut Hill there as well as TJ High. And those TJ High and Walnut Hill presentations should be available the middle of next week. So, all right, it looks that as of right now, let's see, we have one question. It is the front of the building off of Killian. Is there a driveway separating the building from the street? Okay, Ola, would you like to go ahead and answer that one?
Can we go back to the site plan?
Yes, please.
And I think it's, yeah, go to the traffic site plan. Okay, this is one. So the traffic coming into Walnut Hill Pre-8, the intent is that all the parent drop-off comes in from Hedgeway. So we got a separate slip road, if you will, that goes in and comes around the north end of Walnut Hill. And then that traffic is directed south back onto Walnut Hill. And the intent is to keep the traffic off Killian. And again, the buses, the purple lines are coming in from Gooding Drive across the site, dropping off south of Walnut Hill, and then exiting on Hedgeway. So that's the intent, is that we keep the traffic on site and minimize impact on the side streets. Now, hopefully that answers the question.
All right, thank you, Ola. Another question we have is, it's from Facebook. They're asking, what's the timeline? I can go ahead and answer that one. Pretty much on Tuesday, the 26th, the contractor will be on site. They will be doing some interior demolition of the old Cary facility. As of right now, we've done all the notifications to the state and are moving forward with our demolition process over the next 2 to 3 months. Should be the process to remove all the buildings, all the structures that were damaged. And then roughly in September, we'll be looking at starting all the overall utility site work, road access cuts, things like that, tying into city utilities, making sure that all the infrastructure is in place. And then coming January, we'll actually start the foundations and going vertical with the new structures and the renovations of both campuses. right, we have another question from Facebook. It said, is there any concern that school may need to incorporate infection control specs, such as improved ventilation with window doors that can open to the outside, wider hallways, touchless entry into bathrooms, no doors, increased hand-free sinks? Should it look like COVID will be difficult to eradicate or prevent come fall? Okay. This is a little bit more of a technical question. Ola, I don't know if you want to, or Sanjita, you want to address this one?
Well, yes, that is definitely something that's on everyone's mind right now, and we'll be working with the district on establishing protocols going forward on that. It's all new to all of us, and we're trying to figure out how it works.
All right. Thank you, Ola. Another question is, can we get an electronic copy of the plans? Like I mentioned earlier, right now, the presentation that we have, it will be released to the public by the middle of next week for both campuses. There's the general schematics, but like our design team mentioned, these are very fluid still as we're going through coordinating with different departments and users. So as we get closer and closer to the deadline to begin construction, the drawings will begin taking more form and being finalized. At that point, once we submit drawings to the city and everything, certain drawings will be available for the community to address or to look at. All right, we have another question. In light of COVID-19, will this change the design plans due to recent guidance by CDC? Are there different expectations in place for the design? I think that one's a little bit similar to the question before, Ola, but if you want to address this one also.
Well, I think it addresses exactly the same concern. So, and it is something we're all aware of, and but we need to work with the district to establish the guidelines and how this is managed in the design.
All right, thank you, Ola. Another question from Facebook is asking, will this be a single gender school? And this question, I will turn it over to the ISD leadership. Ryan, I believe, is this a question you can answer for us?
We'll let Philip talk about this program, I think. Mr. Potter?
Okay.
Yes, hello. Thank you for the question. This will not be a single gender school. It will be a transformation school, and we'll be going through that process this year with our community and with our stakeholders.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Potter. Okay. All right, a Facebook question is, what is a transformation school and what does it exactly mean? Mr. Potter, I believe this one is in your realm.
Yes, thank you for that question as well. That means that the school you can apply to go to the school. It also means that we'll have some really unique and special programming. We're really going to just take the program that we have, scale it up through 8th grade, expand the dual language program, expand the gifted and talented programming, all the great things that made us a National Blue Ribbon school. We're going to take that, scale it up, and enrich that. And then folks across the district, across the city can apply and be able to come to our school.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Potter. All right, here's another question. How many total parking spots are available for TJ and PK8? And how many, if any, are dedicated spots for elementary?
Joe, I can take that.
All right, thank you, Sanjita.
For the pre-K-8 school, on the development plan, we have about 114 spaces designated, and for TJ, over 400 for that particular campus. And as designed, the spaces are designated for each school and are adjacent to each campus.
All right, thank you. Okay, here's another question coming in. I said, what are the plans for security in the design of the building? Protected areas, protected entrances, etc. Ola, Sanjita, if you'd like to answer this one.
I think, Sangeeta, do you want to take that one?
Sure, Ola. So yes, we've got several security features that include Dallas ISD standard security features incorporated for this campus as well as for TJ. This includes the secure vestibules that mandates all of the people visiting the campus to go and sign in at the front office before they gain access to the school. Exterior doors are controlled by card readers, as well as strategic placement of cameras, both on the exterior and the interior. We are working closely with Dallas ISD to incorporate other design features and measures to elevate the safety and security around the building. In addition, I also want to mention that there fencing that's placed around the campuses that allow the kids to be outside when they're during their outdoor activity time, as well as that keep the campus perimeter secure.
All right, thank you, Sanjita. Okay, here we have a question from Facebook. It says, thanks for all the thought that has gone into this design. Said, is there any concerns about cars lining up for carpool? At the old Walnut Hill, the lanes were split into two, and when I imagine combining them plus an additional 3 grades, it seems the car line may rate all the way to Walnut Hill. Okay. Ola?
Yeah, I can take that one. So there's been a lot of effort and thoughts going into working out the internal traffic on this site and make sure that we can stack the traffic, the expected traffic on the site. And it goes back to the many community meetings we've had and the feedback that traffic on the side streets is something we need to look at. So this plan has been developed, and we do have enough stacking on the site, both at drop off and pickup, to keep the cars off the side streets. So that's been one of the key elements in developing the site plan and how the traffic flows through, taking all the traffic out on Walnut Hill and in from Hedgeway and Gooding to accommodate that concern.
All right, thank you, Ola. Another question that just came in is, will the building be designed to have solar or be solar and battery storage ready? I can go ahead and answer that one. one of the directives that we received early on was to consider the possibility of net zero or some sort of environmental considerations for this building. At a minimum, the building will be solar ready, but as we develop the program, we could be looking at the potential of solar panels or some other green system for the building as we get closer and closer to finalizing construction documents. Okay, hopefully that answered the question. Another question just came in. It said, you mentioned perimeter fencing to keep the site secure, but any security measures to keep elementary and middle school kids safe and separated from high school kids, particularly in regards to the outdoor amenity spaces and fields? All right, this one seems more like an operational question for the campus. Mr. Potter, would you like to address this question, please?
Sure. So I would just want to make it really crystal clear that, you know, while we want to be great neighbors and collaborative, these are two separate schools. And to my understanding as well, and please do correct me, folks, if I'm wrong, but to my understanding as well, we do have a secure perimeter around the school, which should help mitigate and definitely ease any concerns that we would have with any security measures there.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Potter. Okay, from Facebook, is there any plan to incorporate any of the mission style architecture from the original campus? Sanjita, if you would like to answer this one, please.
Sure. I think the exterior vocabulary that you see over here in this particular presentation is the direction that we are going, and it was developed in close partnership with the Dallas ISD leadership, the stakeholders, and the community. So the visual language is largely going to remain the same. It will just get refined more as we move through the process.
All right, thank you. And Sanjita, I believe the next question is probably in your realm also.
Okay.
It is, was the design team able to figure out how to incorporate an auditorium into the PK8 design?
So we want to state that all of the areas that we see over here were based on the program that was also developed in close partnership with a lot of stakeholders from Dallas ISD. So what we've got in this particular campus is what we would call a cafetorium setting, where the cafeteria would function as a dining space during a regular school day, and there will be a stage portion within the same space that could be used for events and such, but we do not have an auditorium in this particular program, hence it did not land in the design either.
All right, thank you. It's 40. While we wait to see if any other questions come in, I would like to turn it over to Trustee Flores for some comments. I know he has a busy schedule right now and has a couple of other meetings to attend. So, Trustee Flores?
Sure, thank you. Just want to thank you guys for the great presentation and for being thoughtful about traffic, which is very important to the community, being collaborative with the school and leadership and the community and the families that will send their kids to school there. I always say that there are really kind of two primary functions to a school. there's what happens within the walls, but there's also, the outward facing portion of the building, what the community is going to look at every single day. And all of those issues. Do the two buildings look like each other? And what kind of fencing is there going to be? The separation between the two campuses, and you've definitely thought of all those things, and making sure that we come up with a traffic plan that addresses the needs of the community and that makes us a good neighbor. So I just want to thank you guys for the excellent presentation, the excellent work on this, and we're really looking forward to you guys working together with us to make this happen. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, we have another question here. Is asking, what is the plan for the old Walnut Hill space? And I believe Mr. Lane, is this one question that you could answer for us, please?
Yes, our plan for the old Walnut Hill campus is to construct a career institute. It will be called our Career Institute North, which is a high school campus that allows half-day programs for kids at 5 of the surrounding high schools to learn various trades, whether it's mechanical, carpentry, all the various trades, because there's such a limited workforce out there right now, and this will allow us to be able to train our students to be able to go out into the workforce upon their high school completion and be able to make a living wage to support themselves and support a family. And that school is also under contract with an architect and is also scheduled to be complete and open in August of 2022.
All right, thanks, sir. And I believe this following question would also fall in your realm, sir. It's from Facebook, and it says pretty much, we were told that De Goyer couldn't rebuild to be a K-8 school because DISD doesn't build K-8 schools. Now Walnut Hill is going to be rebuilt as a K-8 school. Have we changed our stance, and could De Goyer be a K-8 building?
I may need to defer to Mr. Zisk to help with that.
Okay.
I'm not sure I can answer that question.
So Scott, I could jump in on here. This is Edwin. The problem is that piece of property that is actually our property at that location, it is postage stamp small. And that's really the issue with the De Goyer site, unfortunately.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Flores. All right, another question from Facebook is, what will the feeder zone be for this new PK8 school? And Brian, I believe this one.
Yeah, I'll take this one. Yeah. So the feeder zone for this school, it's going to encompass the same feeder zone, or the attendance zone rather, that the original Walnut Hill campus, those boundaries. Mr. Potter also talked about school becoming, and our transformation schools also include transportation. So it's very likely that as Walnut Hill is now, a large portion of the schools will come from around throughout the entire Dallas ISD community.
All right, thank you. All right, we're getting close to the end of our session today. It seems like the questions online have slowed down a little bit. Mr. Potter, would you like to go ahead and give some final remarks from your end, please?
Yes, absolutely. So I just want to extend my thanks to the design team, to our school leadership, Trustee Flores. I'm really excited to see the voice of our community coming through in this design. And I think that's the most powerful point of this is, it's a community and parents, I just want to speak to you and just say thank you for demonstrating your dedication and commitment to us throughout this entire process. Specifically in hanging with us in each step of the way. Your commitment and resolve has been astounding. And it's really, truly incredible to see us come together and have a design that is so beautiful and so innovative. It's really going to be an incredible opportunity for all of our kids.
All right, thank you, Mr. Potter. I want to remind everybody online that the comments section, which is located at the dallasisd.org/bond 2015 questions, will remain open until tomorrow noon. So if there's anything you might have come up with later on, go ahead and send us your questions. We will answer those in writing. And middle of next week, this whole presentation along with the questions will be uploaded to the dallasisd.org/bond 2015 meetings page. You'll be able to download this presentation as well as the comments, the questions and answers that will be posted. Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for attending this meeting. We definitely appreciate everybody's input, and we'll continue to work with Dallas ISD stakeholders as well as the community and campus staff to make sure we do provide the best project possible for this Walnut Hill facility. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody. And one more item. The presentation is available or will be available in English and Spanish on the website. Just a reminder. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.